Hello, so today I'm doing a review of a MOC, make my own creation, of the Russian Hind D. This is, I built this based on a design provided by a YouTuber who calls himself the Darth Designer. So he has a YouTube computer graphics like video of a Russian helicopter being built, and you can follow along with the instructions. It's the Hind D, the Mi-24, or also sometimes known as the Mi-35. As far as I knew, few people had pictures of a completely built model based on his design that I could find anywhere on the internet. So I decided to try to build his model out because I really like this helicopter and do a review on it. So it's, as you can see, it's a great looking model once completely built out. It's pretty big, and just by comparison, here's another couple toys. Here's a Chinese made WZ-10. I think it's made by a company called Wange, or it's spelled W-A-N-G-E. And here is Bloks Black Hawk. Now, the Bloks Black Hawk is just slightly smaller than the Hind D. And so it just gives you an idea of how immense of a model this is. Like I said, it's a great looking model, but there are a few design issues with this that I think I should address in this review before anybody tries to build this thing out. The first thing is, this might be a minor issue or a major issue depending on where you stand on accuracy, but in the rear tail rotor, you'll notice that it's four-bladed, but in the actual helicopter itself, the actual Hind D only has a three-bladed tail rotor. The other thing, and this is pretty major, is that the landing gear was not very well designed. So basically it didn't account for the weight of the helicopter, and if I built out the landing gear to the helicopter's videos instructions, and I found that when I put the helicopter down, the weight of the helicopter would just make the landing gear basically collapse. So as a display model, the helicopter always has to be displayed in flight mode, I guess. Okay. I built this model out of Lego, a mix of Lego parts, knockoff Chinese Lego parts, and Bloks slash Call of Duty slash Halo parts. So let's just take a look around, and so you can see that spins. There are some issues with this model that I wrote down that I thought I should point out. Okay, so besides the landing gear, some parts I had to redesign, or just kind of improvise because the design didn't completely work. I guess for starters, originally in the video, the designer, Darth Designer, has you using, I think, frictionless pins, but if you do that, the blades will just kind of flop around at the slightest touch. So I had to use pins that had some friction. That's contrary to what his video suggests. Okay. Another part is that stuff like this over here, like in his video as designed, he's got you sticking this back piece directly to the big round piece over there. But if you try to do that, it'll just fall right off. So you need to put like a little disc over here, a round disc as a connector piece. Over here with the cannons, originally in the video, He only has one frictionless pin holding this up so that you can kind of turn the cannon, but if you do that, the cannon kind of flops around left and right uncontrollably at the slightest movement. So I ended up putting 2 pins inside here as opposed to 1 pin that you would see in his video instructions. Let's see what else. The cockpit, it looks really nice as designed, but I don't think you can actually put any minifigures in there. I mean, I tried. I had some soldier-looking minifigures, and they had like berets on and helmets on. You know, they were a third-party manufactured minifigure, but they were pretty much pretty good quality. But when I tried to put the cockpit down, the minifigure's helmet or their beret would kind of pop up the cockpit, so it wouldn't go completely down. It would be like that. So that's something to keep in mind. The Darth Designer also has this turbine thing built in so that it can turn in his original digital design, but I replaced that so it's just fixed because there's no way you can really turn that thing anyway, so it's kind of pointless to have it turnable. Okay. In his original design, he's got 2 long strips over here on the wing, but I found that doesn't really provide very good stability, and the wing is prone to breaking apart, so I put these 2 tile pieces instead of 2 strips. So that's another part that I changed. Okay. Let me see. Let's see. I talked about this. Let me also talk about on his video, he has a link to a place where you can download the parts list for this helicopter. But the thing is that you can download the parts list for either a yellow and brown scheme or like a gray/dark gray scheme. But I think that if you compare the video with his parts list, some of the colors are swapped. Like, so for example, in his video, it'll have like maybe, for example, this part being, because in his video he has the yellow and brown camo copter scheme, so it'll have this being yellow and this part being brown. But then when you download the parts list, it might be reversed, you know, like, so this might be brown and this might be yellow instead. So bear that in mind, okay? But all the parts are there, okay? But yeah, as you can see, it's a terrific looking model. It's somewhat delicate. I wouldn't say this is something that you should probably try to play with so much as display. But overall, I would give this design an A- over a B+. It was very challenging, very challenging build. I probably spent about $160 worth on parts alone on just getting this from different sellers on Bricklink. Some parts he uses discontinued or expensive parts, like for example over here in his model design, his digital design, he has this as a single kind of tube, but those cylinder pieces cost about $3 a piece in his original design, and you know, $3 or $4 a piece, and you need to buy 8 of them, so you know that adds about $24 to $32 on the cost of the design. So I said no thank you, and I just used regular short cylinders instead, which are much cheaper. Okay, so there's things like that to watch out for. He's got the he uses some of the old style connectors. This is like the 3-pronged thingy over here, and those are more expensive because they've been discontinued. So these are some things to bear in mind when building this model. But overall, it was a great little build, and I'm not sure I'd ever attempt to do anything like this again because it was absolutely the most bonkers thing I've ever tried to build. But I'm really happy with the results, and I think it looks great on my shelf. And if you try to build it, I hope that this video helps you out too.